Hey everyone, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Persistence Outdoors podcast. It's Samuel Allred on the mic, and today we're going to talk about one of the most popular New Year's resolutions, exercise and fitness. Now, in reality, I don't really make New Year's resolutions. Not because I don't want to improve myself or because I don't think I will be able to keep them. I just have this idealistic goal, and that is if there's something I need to do or have resolved to do, I should start as soon as possible. It doesn't always work out that way for sure, but that's how I prefer to think about it. That said, the new year does make me pause and reflect sometimes, and I think that's a good thing. And whether you make a formal resolution or not, physical fitness might cross your mind. Hunting requires some level of physical fitness, some styles more than others. And I'll go out on a limb and say that having good physical fitness will make any hunt more enjoyable. On any given hunt, you'll hike, ruck, wade, drag, run, climb, balance, squat, kneel, and it helps to be in good shape to do all of these things. I'm going to recommend a few exercises and movements that I think every hunter should do to stay in shape and prepare for hunting. Before we get into it, if you enjoy this podcast, if you've learned something, please give it a follow and a 5-star rating on whatever platform you listen on. That will really help the podcast grow and ultimately help more people get outdoors and into hunting. And if you know someone who might be interested, share an episode. Hopefully this podcast will become a great resource for new hunters. Okay, let's talk about our training goals for preparing to hunt. 2 main goals stick out: being able to go where we want and preventing injury. So let's dig into those a little. Good hunting often comes at the price of some serious legwork. If you're like me, you don't own a 4-wheeler or a string of horses. If you want to get somewhere, you've got to hike. Even in places with lots of roads, there's a chance you'll need to hike a steep hill or go through rugged terrain to get to the place that animals like to be. And then there's the question of getting the animals out of the place we shoot them in. Personally, I want to be as uninhibited as possible when I'm hunting. If I want to go somewhere, I want to be physically capable of getting there, assuming it's not dangerous. That's a tall order for where I hunt in Idaho, and it requires a significant amount of preparation. Now, maybe you hunt in a flatter part of the country where steep elevation or super rugged terrain isn't as much of an issue. It still pays to be in good shape. Think about dragging a deer back to the truck. It's a major challenge. At best, you'll be sweaty and out of breath. At worst, you won't even go to the places you want to hunt because you fear it will be too hard to get the animal out. So you want to find a level of fitness that allows you to go and hunt where you want to and feel confident in your ability to get there and get out with an animal. The other main goal is preventing injury. Once again, a deer drag is a great example. If you're not used to moving heavy things and haven't built the strength, it's real easy to injure yourself dragging an animal. Think about your lower back. Hurts just to think about it, right? Or say you're hiking a steep mountain and you stumble and turn your ankle a bit. Or maybe you're coming down a mountain with a heavy pack and you're putting lots of weight on your knees. The way you've prepared for these situations is going to determine whether you stay in the hunt or you're put on the injury squad. You need to think about the demands of your hunt and make sure your body is up to the task. It's not just acute, one-time injuries that we're trying to prevent either. It's cumulative injuries as well. You might get away with a super heavy backpack load or running haphazardly down a steep trail when you're young and can recover quickly, but over time, these behaviors can cause big issues for your joints. All these problems can be solved, or at least improved, by exercise. So here are a few exercises I recommend. These aren't the only exercises you can do, of course, but they're some of the best, and if you only did these 3 things, you could make some serious progress. Number 1 is hiking and rucking. Number 2 is squats. And number 3 is deadlifting. Now, you may be thinking, what about running? I'll touch on running and why I don't necessarily recommend it after we go through these 3. Let's start with hiking and rucking. This one's pretty obvious, right? Hiking and rucking just meaning hiking with a weighted backpack, are great ways to lose weight, improve your endurance, and prepare your legs for hunting. Losing weight is a major goal for a lot of people. Hiking is a great way to lose weight because when you're hiking, unless you're on something very steep, you're probably in an intensity zone where you're using body fat for energy. High intensity workouts, while they do burn calories, cause your body to switch to a different energy source if it's available. Glycogen, essentially sugar reserves stored in your muscle, and carbs that you eat. When you're operating at high intensity, you're actually not burning fat. Instead, you just feel like you want to eat more, leading back to equilibrium. Plus, it can be hard to stay disciplined with high intensity workouts. Hiking, on the other hand, is super easy. You just go out and walk. That's pretty much it. Now, one note about weight loss. You may have heard the saying that abs are made in the kitchen. That's completely true. You're likely not going to lose excess fat through exercise alone. Diet is a huge part of that equation. So I just want to acknowledge that. Hiking and rucking are also good for building endurance. Sustained low-level intensity will help your body adapt and become more efficient over time. If you feel like the cardio challenge of hiking is too easy, you can add some weight to your backpack, walk faster, or take steeper hills. Lastly, hiking is pretty much what you'll actually be doing when you're hunting. If you can hike on uneven surfaces, it will do a lot to prepare the small muscles you need to stabilize yourself on slopes and rugged terrain. Getting into a routine of rucking for an hour a couple times a week with a load similar to what you'll be carrying on your hunt is a great way to start training. You can also simulate heavy packouts by loading your backpack up with weights and water jugs. When you're rucking though, work your way up to this. Throwing 100 pounds in your pack before you're ready is a great way to hurt yourself. The next exercise I'd recommend are squats. Squats are great for a variety of reasons. You can do them anywhere. They're a compound body movement and build overall strength. They work some of your main climbing muscles. With weight, they can help you maintain better bone density. And on top of all these reasons, maybe the reason I'm most interested in squats for is that they help strengthen your knees and preserve knee function and mobility. Those are some pretty serious health benefits, right? Weighted or unweighted, squats can really help you stay healthy and strong and prepare you for hunting. A lot of people don't have that much time to work out, or at least they don't want to contribute that much of their time to working out. And so I think it helps to focus on compound movements like squats that work lots of muscle groups in the body instead of just one. Also, like it or not, most functional capability comes from the lower body and core strength, not your biceps or pecs or upper body, really. I think this is true for nearly every type of athlete besides maybe swimmers. So if you need to prioritize, I would prioritize the lower body every time. Squats are known for helping people build muscle and increase their strength, and they're often recommended for older people to help them maintain their bone density. All of these things are good for hunters because they'll make your body more robust and help you avoid injury in the long run. And like I said earlier, they're great for your knees. Your knees are the largest joints in your body, and they receive a lot of stress. If you're a backcountry hunter carrying camp on your back or packing animals out a long way, they're going to experience even more stress than normal, and it becomes a real problem. Even people who aren't hunters have major issues with their knees. There's no magic way to avoid these problems, especially if you're committed to carrying heavy packs. And unfortunately, doctors haven't found a way to heal knee injuries or regenerate damaged knees without surgery. What you can do, though, is strengthen your knees. Squats strengthen the muscles around your knees that support them, improving their stability and helping protect them from injury. The actual motion of squatting also helps you maintain your flexibility in your joint and increases the flow of synovial fluid, which is the fluid that lubricates and nourishes your joints. By not using your knees, you actually reduce this natural process and have a detrimental effect on your knee health. So that's why I think squats are so important. And since they're so easy to do, even without weights, I think they're a great addition to any workout routine. You can also do all sorts of variations: jump squats, split squats, pistol squats, back squats. So you'll never get bored with squats. The third exercise I recommend is deadlifting. Deadlifting, if you haven't done it, is where you have the bar with weight in front of you, and with your feet shoulder width apart, you bend your knees and reach down to pick it up. You really want to keep your lower back flat when you do this and focus on activating your hamstrings and glutes as you lift. It's worth looking up a video on form or asking someone at the gym if you're unfamiliar with the movement. Deadlifting might take the cake for the most practically applicable strength training movement of all. Just like squatting, it works multiple muscle groups in the same movement, some of your biggest muscle groups. It can help you increase your overall strength and bone density, and you're using a range of motion in your knees, though it's not quite as much as squatting. The reason I think it's really practical, though, is that almost any time you're moving something heavy in normal life or hunting, you're doing a variation of the deadlift. Think about moving furniture with a friend. You're starting in a deadlift position. Or say you're grabbing your pack off the ground, or trying to flip a big deer over. Deadlift position. Even dragging an animal out will involve a lot of the same lower back, hamstring, and glute strength that's developed by a deadlift. Another thing that I really like about deadlifting is that it strengthens your upper body as well, particularly your grip. In order to deadlift heavy things, your arms, hands, and shoulders all have to be able to handle it. So you're getting some real practical upper body strength as well. Grip strength is even correlated with longevity. Older people with better grip strength are considered more healthy and likely to stay healthy. I don't exactly know if it's the chicken or the egg there. I just know it's correlated. Another huge benefit of large compound movements is that they can help you increase your metabolism and lose excess fat. When you start working major muscle groups and even gaining a little muscle, it can kick your metabolism into gear and help you get rid of the body weight you don't want. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Deadlifts do take some equipment, but I think they're highly valuable for your workout routine. And if you really can't access a barbell and weights, you can do deadlift variations like picking up your pack or other heavy items, which in some ways is even more practical for hunting applications. There's lots of useful variations of deadlifts like Romanian deadlifts and single leg deadlifts with less weight. And variations aren't just to make your workout more interesting, though they certainly can. They actually help work and strengthen the same muscle groups in a different way. I think the single leg variations of deadlifts and squats and lots of workouts are especially helpful for hunters because in real hunting scenarios, that's actually the way we're using our legs on slopes and uneven terrain individually. So keep that in mind. With any of these big compound movements, make sure to work up to them. Don't go out and just lift the heaviest thing you can possibly lift right off the bat. Start light, make sure you recover, and make sure your core is strong enough to handle these things before you really send it. Even lifting lighter weights is going to help you build strength and get on the right path. So don't go out and injure yourself. It's going to take some time. And if you do lift heavy, remember that the heavier you lift, the less volume you'll need and the more time you'll need to recover. I probably could have included planks on this list as a recommended exercise as well. Planks are really helpful for getting your core strong enough to do these bigger lifts without injuring yourself. And I find that they particularly help my lower back feel good. So adding in some planks is always a good idea to help keep your core in shape. Now, I mentioned I would talk about running. I actually think hiking or rucking is a better way to prepare for hunting than running. And here's why. Endurance running heavily taxes the body and is hard to do in a healthy way. It's just tricky to get right. Let's talk about the weight loss aspect first. Lots of people who run are running fast enough and hard enough that they're using carbs as their main source of energy, like we talked about earlier. It's easy to get into a pattern of running, feeling exhausted, slamming carbs to replenish your energy, and then doing it all again. The problem is that you might not really be using your fat reserves, and running likely increases your stress hormones like cortisol. Cortisol can have an adverse effect on your efforts to lose weight. And if you're also depriving yourself of carbs to lose weight, you'll likely feel very uncomfortable, to say the least. More cortisol and more craving carbs. There's a lot of people out there who run a lot, but still have a belly due to the carb issue. And you'll start to see it now that you've thought about it. It just goes back to high intensity workouts, you're generally using carbs. Low intensity workouts, you're generally burning fat. And also, once again, the way you eat has a big impact on your overall weight loss. Now, some people will lose weight by running simply because they can't or don't want to eat enough to replace all the energy they're expending. That was me in high school cross country, right? Eating all the time, mostly carbs, but still super lean. And for some people, that's the dream, right? The problem is that now you increase your risk of injury by being under-muscled. If you're running a whole lot and not eating enough, one, your body will adapt because it would be silly to carry any extra muscle mass. And two, it becomes very hard to recover from small stresses and injuries, which become cumulative. Plus, the constant stress of endurance training and lack of sufficient recovery can compromise your immune system, making you more susceptible to sickness. While you don't want to be overweight while hunting, being under-muscled or having nagging small injuries or weaknesses can be just as much of a problem. Many people who run are just a smaller, less robust version of what they could be, which is not ideal for injury prevention or even longevity. A couple anecdotal examples. Take a look at the fastest marathoners in the world. They're super skinny, right? Sure, they could fly around the mountains, but they're going to be at major risk for injury when you give them a weighted pack or ask them to drag something. Another anecdote. I ran cross country and track for 3 years in high school. By halfway through every season, something like 40% of the team would be on the injury squad. Very little weight involved, just running. If you're going to run, just be really careful with it. Eat appropriately, make sure you're always running with good form, and if you're not, stop and get stronger, and make sure it's actually giving you the results you want. It will help to use periodization to make sure that your body recovers completely in between training seasons. The bottom line is this: not all cardio is good cardio. If it's chronically stressing your body, compromising your immune system, preventing you from keeping healthy muscle, and making you injury prone, something's wrong. To round this out, I'm not completely against running. I just think it's hard to get right. I do think running could be good for developing your mental toughness and discipline because most people really hate running, so it may be good for that. I also think sprinting is an excellent workout. Anecdotally, again, look at the way elite sprinters look. They don't look fragile, right? Sprinting can actually boost your growth hormone production and make you stronger. If you want to sprint, I would generally treat it like a heavy lifting workout, high intensity, low volume. Short sets of all-out 10-second sprints, even once every 10 days, is probably enough. So that's why I don't generally recommend running. I guess I have a lot to say on that. Maybe I need to do a full podcast on it, but those are my thoughts for now. I hope this episode has been helpful for you and maybe has inspired you to think about working out in 2025. I'll wrap this up with a closing thought. When it comes to working out, it's almost always more important to do something than what you actually do. Even going for a walk is better than doing nothing at all. And walking is super good for you, so don't rule that out. It's helpful to find something that motivates you so you'll keep coming back for more. For me, that's hunting. It's got me hiking, deadlifting, and squatting almost year-round so I can kill it in the mountains. But for you, outside of hunting season, it might be something else. Maybe you really love soccer, or maybe you love to bike. Whatever it is, do something. Stay active, and when hunting season rolls around, maybe focus your workouts a little more on that. That way your body will be prepared and you'll have a better chance of truly enjoying your hunt and being successful. Happy New Year once again. I'll catch you next week.